You're watching Your View.
Thank you for joining us. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Hey, great friends. We welcome you back inside the 7 Mile Casino studios here of Kaplan and Crew, 7milecasino.com. I mentioned this last week. I've mentioned it all week, really. On Sunday, I was down at 7 Mile Casino because I wanted to stop in and see what it looked like from the tent on the outside to moving everybody back to the inside. Man, I'm telling you, it is beautiful, clean. Nobody smokes inside, so it doesn't have that smoky smell. Poker, blackjack, baccarat, which I don't really know how to play. Beautiful bar and restaurant. I'm telling you, phenomenal. And I've been talking to 7 Mile now about doing a poker tournament or some kind of a charitable, philanthropic kind of blackjack event. So anyway, to be coming here shortly, but a lot to get to between now and the time we do that, including this Friday, where we will be at Del Mar for opening day of the Del Mar racing season. For more information, go to DMTC, Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, DMTC.com. And for everybody that's on YouTube, okay? And people, even early this morning, people were hitting me up on Twitter and DM saying, dude, what's up with YouTube? Why is the show not available at 3 o'clock? I am loving the fact that you guys have busted our balls over this whole thing because we deserve it, number one. But number two, I realize how important every place that we broadcast is. 1090 has its own set of listeners. YouTube has its set of viewers and listeners and multitaskers. TV tonight, Channel 4, San Diego, Santa Barbara, Channel 118, Palos Verdes, Orange County. That's its own separate crew of viewers. And of course, people who like it on their own time with audio podcast platforms. Find us everywhere on kaplanandcrew.com, along with Big Brown and Cameron Ezeir, our intern this summer who's filling in for Grande. It is the Kaplan and Crew show from the 7 Mile Casino studios. And you'll see, for those of you watching, Browner and Cameron are in an office space in Serrano Valley that we are contemplating taking over, where we can all get back together and do the show in person and invite guests and everything else. Browner, Cameron, let me ask you guys both a question. I intended last night to watch the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. So I watched some of the preliminary stuff, the introductions of the players. Interesting to see Buddy Black, take off his hat to the Colorado fans. Hey, I'm here. I'm the manager. Our team's bad, but we're hosting. Hey, nice to see everybody. Happy to be here. So I watched all the pregame introductions, and I only really wanted to see one thing, which I wanted to see what happens when Ohtani faces Tatis. And I got to say, a little anticlimactic, obviously, I will say this, I loved what Fox did with regards to talking to players while they're taking at bats. I love that. Now, you probably will never be able to do that during a real baseball game, like a regular season game, but I loved it. I liked all the different camera angles. From a television production standpoint, I liked the presentation. The game itself, boring, and I lost interest in, I think after Tatis's second at bat where he popped up and flew out, that's kind of where I was like, I'm done. And Manny was over at third. I literally did not see, did Cronenworth get in? I wasn't like sitting around to wait for that stuff. I wasn't waiting to see if Melanson got it. I was tuned out. I was bored. Browner, I'll throw it to you first. Were you watching? What'd you think?
Man, look, I watched Ophony pitch the first inning, watched Tatis. And after that, I looked up and it was the seventh inning. And I was like, whoa, what happened? I fell asleep. Like, it was great for a nap. It was the best thing for the summer afternoon, the MLB All-Star Game. Good nap time.
You like that nap, huh?
It was one of the best naps I've had in a long time.
All right. Cameron, how about you, man?
I had the same experience, except it was the fifth inning when I looked up. I didn't even take a nap. It was just there. And then it was on, heard Vladdy hit the home run, and then it's the top of the fifth. I'm like, wow, this is either flying by or it's really boring. And I came to the consensus that it was really boring. Yeah, it was no interest. I mean, on my end, at least. I love that they mic'd up Freddie Freeman, and who was another one? The
Chris
Tatis
Bryant.
as well. Right, no, that was the best part. I was more in tune to that than actually watching the game. I didn't even know what the score was halfway through.
It's funny because the game was moving rather fast though. I was like, okay, well, at least this thing is moving fast because it is really boring. Put it this way, the game I think was so boring that more discussion was happening about the team uniforms than the actual game itself. Um, I was surprised to see how many people really care that much about uniforms.
Dude, those jerseys was bomb. I was like, whoa, before I fell asleep, I was like, I need to get one of these. Those are nice. I like simplicity in my fashion. Okay. Yeah, you can wear the original jersey, but that's boring. Who wants to do that? It's no don't wear boring regular. I don't The Padres have dope jerseys, but outside of that, there's like three other good jerseys. You want to see the Rays jersey at the All-Star game? No. No. I liked what they did. I thought it was
I
bomb.
mean, Browner, a lot of players didn't agree with you. These are a couple of players. Brewers pitcher Brett Anderson said MLB should just let the players wear their own uniforms instead of these slow pitch softball ones.
He's
Liam
stupid.
Hendricks, who was actually at the game, I'm a big fan of each team wearing their own jerseys, which they didn't do this year. I don't mind the concept they're going for. I just feel like they need a little more player input. And I actually didn't like them to start. And then as the game went on, while I was half falling asleep, I got more accustomed to them. And then I started liking them. I started really liking them. During the introductions, they looked tight. They looked great. I mean, I liked them after the first couple innings. It really grew on me.
I really liked the American League uniforms. Listen, I don't really sit around and do uniform analysis, but I was seeing on Twitter how much talk there was about how much everybody hated the uniforms. And then I had to remember I'm talking about what people are talking about on Twitter, where nobody likes anything about anything. So I actually thought the game was so boring that it was funny that people were talking about this. And I liked the American League uniforms. I liked the full blue. None of this stuff bothered me. I don't really care if they wear their home uniforms in white or their colored uniforms. It doesn't matter to me. Like
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is, the game was boring, my opinion. And the only thing that I really, really loved about it was hearing a guy at bat talking to the broadcasters. Like to me, I thought that was really cool. I love that sort of behind the scenes kind of production. I like that.
I will tell you this about uniform production. Take a page out of the NBA's book. They got 7 jerseys per team. Okay, this is why baseball has a problem. The
Oh,
players.
it's not because certain players need interpreters. That's not the problem.
We gonna get to that, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Bro, your daddy played in the major leagues for what, 15 years? Now you don't speak English either? Stop it. Stop it. Really?
Hey, don't you remember when Sammy Sosa had to go sit
Been
in front of
very, very
Congress
good to me.
to talk about steroids? And Sammy Sosa, like 2 days before, was being interviewed, and he's like, "Yeah, well, I really think that my time with the
That is
Chicago
the
Cubs
whitest
was
Sammy
right,
Sosa impression
right,
I've ever
right."
heard.
But then Sammy Sosa got in front of Congress, and they're like, "Yo, you do steroids?" He's like, "No comprende la inglés. Tú hablas en español, por favor, amigo." Like he literally went from speaking English to not being able to speak English because of the interrogation. So,
If you're
you know,
if you're trying to if you're trying to expand the brand, this is what we keep talking about with baseball players, bro. You got to be all in. You got to participate. So therefore, if you make these all-star jerseys, rock them, represent them, whether you like them or not. This is why baseball has become a regional sport, because even the guys participating in it don't want to be a part of expanding the game. It's become such a niche sport. It's almost embarrassing. Like
I
those.
have no idea what you mean. I literally have no idea what you mean. Listen, let me ask you a question.
Ask,
Because I'm gonna ask you a question.
ask away.
Okay. Yesterday we had this whole conversation. So Stephen A. Smith
Mm-hmm.
said what he said about Otani and said that Otani is not good for baseball in terms of marketing because he need a damn interpreter all up in this country. Okay. So it goes viral. Everybody goes out of their minds. Okay. The cancel culture can't wait to get a hold of Stephen A. Because let's face it, a black man making $12 million all up in this country. It's like, let's tear him down, right? Let's just tear this dude down. Let's see if we can cancel him, right? And so Stephen A. Smith weathered the storm. It happened. Okay. He weathered it. But I thought last night when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. won the MVP, and after the game, he used an interpreter to speak because I guess he felt more comfortable, or maybe he was just trolling Stephen A, or maybe he really don't speak no English for all I know. But because that I obviously don't speak clean English myself.
Don't
But
speak no
seriously,
English.
like I really thought for all the controversy about Otani using an interpreter, I thought Vlad Guerrero Jr. last night using an interpreter after the game was freaking hilarious. I loved it. Now, what's the problem, Browner, with the MVP, who, by the way, and Cameron, you can put this up on the screen, was like one of the youngest guys ever, maybe the youngest guy ever, to ever hit a home run in the All-Star game, as if that matters,
Right.
you know? So here's the graphic for those of you that are listening. Second youngest ever to hit a home run. Johnny Bench was 21 years old. Guerrero's 22 years old, and somebody named Joe Medwick. I
I
don't
can
know
tell
who
you
that
both
is.
of those guys spoke English.
Bang.
Yeah, I mean Browner. So what were you? Did you see Vlad Guerrero Jr. last night use an interpreter for the post game press conference?
I was unaware until someone named Scott Kaplan added me on the Twitter, the post game interview. Look, I don't like it. I don't like it. And you can call me what you want. You can call me backwards. You can call me outdated. You can call me what you want.
How about xenophobic? Can we call you xenophobic?
You got the word from you remember from
Because that was
yesterday?
the word I was trying to come up with yesterday. What is the word they're using to describe somebody who has a problem with somebody's accent? Xenophobic. And I guess I'm going to have to Google it. I'm not 100% positive I know the definition.
I as an American consumer, okay, as an American consumer, if I'm going to purchase something that you are sponsoring or you're the face of, I need to feel like you're part of this culture. You're part of America. You're rolling with the punches like we are. You're part of the middle class or the middle upper class or the middle lower class, and you just pulling along like everybody else. You just happy trying to sell me soda. I, I guarantee you, if you put Vlad Guerrero Jr. in a commercial, he will not use an interpreter. He will not use his home language. He will speak English. That's the problem I have with this. Like, maybe he was nervous. Maybe you're right. Maybe he was nervous. He didn't feel comfortable doing that in front of such a large audience. Okay, but I know he speak English. Come on, dog. I heard your daddy talk. So you mean to me you don't speak no English? Come on, bro. None.
Browner, can I ask you this? We live in the San Diego area. We support the Padres, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Fernando Tatis Jr., if he didn't speak English, but he was the same level of superstar that he was,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that would hinder his ability to get those commercials and hinder his ability to be supported by you?
I think if Tatis did not speak English as well as he does, he would not have been on the cover of the baseball game. He would not have had the Gatorade ad. He would not have had the Nike ad, because being able to speak English helps add to his swag because he understands the language, and then he can put that through his swag so people can understand it and feel him. And I think
this is one of those moments where, you know how I said earlier that 50% of the time you agree with 100% of what Browner says, and then 50% of the time he just has no idea what he's talking about. I'm here to tell you this right now, Browner.
mm-hmm.
This whole notion of English is such crap, man. I'm telling you right now, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is not going to be lesser of a corporate pitchman. By the way, I don't know of him on any commercials anyway.
And there we go. You're
No,
helping. You're arguing. You're helping my point.
but it doesn't have anything to do with him speaking English or not. It has to do with him playing in Toronto, number one, and number two. I don't really see. Put it this way: if you're going to tell me that Major League Baseball last night was advertising, putting that in air quotes, its biggest superstars, I'll ask you guys both this question: who did Fox and MLB advertise to the viewer last night as the biggest stars in the game currently? I'll ask you guys that question.
Well, Shohei Ohtani, there was a commercial before the game started. Fernando Tatis, they had a couple interviews, and Vladimir Guerrero. And Scott, that's why I agree with you and disagree with Browner, because Browner, you didn't even know that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. couldn't speak English until the post-game interview, and you still see him as the star in the league, no?
I can promise you he speaks English.
But he didn't in the post-game.
I would suspect he speaks English also. I'd have to look all this stuff up, but Vladimir Guerrero, his dad, played in Major League Baseball for many years, had a lot of great years with the
great
Angels.
hitter.
Okay. And by the way, I can remember walking through New York City, walking past the Nike store in New York City and seeing big displays of Vladimir Guerrero, the dad. So that was then. And so you assume that the kid grew up either in or around somebody who speaks English. Maybe Cameron, you could look up where Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is from. Point being, here's what I'm saying to you. Major League Baseball, they showed you last night. Here's who we say are the stars. Ohtani used an interpreter from Japan. Guerrero Jr. plays in Toronto is he from Dominican Republic? Where's he from?
He's from Canada, Montreal.
He's from Montreal?
Montreal, Canada. That's what Google says.
Oh, really? Well,
because his dad played in Montreal.
Maybe he speaks French. Oh, that's probably where he was born. Yeah, I wonder where he grew up. I don't know if it says where he grew up.
It says place of birth. Yeah, was Montreal.
Yeah, okay, Montreal. But I would be more curious to know, like, where did he actually grow up when he was drafted in baseball or he was signed in baseball? Where was he signed from? Was he living in the DR? Was he living in a Spanish-speaking country? I'd be curious to know that. All I'm saying to you is this: the biggest stars in baseball, one is Japanese, two are Spanish speaking as their first language. I'm just telling you, man, I really don't think that the language and the interpreters have anything to do with marketability. And if anything, I would argue this today more so than ever before. Not being just a standard white guy, English speaking from the US is actually maybe more marketable, and not just in the United States, but globally speaking.
Look, I will tell you this. What you're saying may be correct. What I'm saying is, as an American consumer, again, I'm telling you the truth about American consumers, not the idea of what people think America is, not the idea of what they think we should be. I'm telling you what the American consumer is. What's the rating on Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? What's the rating at an ad agency on Shea O'Phoney? What's the rating on these dudes? Because again, if they were rated as high as Tatis, they would have commercials. They would have ads, not Major League Baseball tied ads, like when you run something before a game. Stand alone, outside of your team, outside of your sport, ads. If they got to show you in the jersey you play in, I'm good. I'll pass. Okay. So that's why I know Tatis's energy and his language works for the American consumer. That's why we've got Freddie Freeman's kid running around trying to meet Tatis. He ain't running around trying to meet Vlad Guerrero Jr. He ain't running around trying to meet Shea O'Phoney. He want to meet Tatis.
Yeah, but what does that have to do? Listen,
that's not because he doesn't speak English.
Yeah, I mean, this whole argument about English speaking and marketability, I think, and again, I know that Browner's got his opinion. I received a lot of communication yesterday from our viewers and our listeners that thought Browner was out of his mind. I happen to agree. I think Browner's out of his mind. I think Stephen A. Smith is out of his mind. And I actually think that in today's day and age where the world has gotten so much smaller, you could be like Vlad Guerrero Jr. We found out he grew up in the Dominican Republic. You could be like Tatis. Where's Tatis originally from? I mean, where was he also DR? I really don't know. Okay. And Ohtani, Japan. Let me ask you this, Browner. Who's the most marketable American baseball player?
That's a great question. Probably Mookie Betts.
Okay. How many national TV commercials is Mookie in that I don't see? I'm wondering.
Baseball's issue.
I've seen him in one Nike commercial.
Why is it baseball's issue, Cameron?
Well, because the biggest issue with these players marketing themselves and how the players have able to put themselves out there and get on commercials and everything, a lot of the times that's an individual thing. You get to prove your talent in the league, whether that be Major League Baseball or in basketball, but you go through an agent, you go through different agencies. But the issue with these guys not getting on commercials, the issue with these guys not having endorsements or sponsorships that we know about is because their ability or inability to market themselves. If they want a commercial, Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Shohei Ohtani could get any brand they want. If they went out there and got those brands to sponsorship. I mean,
listen, I saw a commercial last night on the All-Star Game with Mariano Rivera.
Okay? Yeah, I saw that one too.
Okay. Is Mariano Rivera relevant right now?
That's what I'm saying.
If you're closing, yeah.
But his talent that he's already shown they
He's
already know he's
done.
a superstar, so he can
Right,
put
but
himself out there.
but if you're Vlad Guerrero Jr. or if you're Shohei Ohtani, you have agents, just like Tatis has agents, and those guys, their jobs are to go out and find you endorsement deals like this.
But if
Um,
I'm marketing to a certain demographic, I'm going to go get Mariano Rivera because a lot of people remember who he is and what he
oh
did
my
for the New
gosh,
York Yankees. Yeah,
Mariano Rivera. I mean, dude, he's not in uniform. He hasn't been in baseball in 10 years. I mean, how many people watched that and went, Mariano Rivera, know him?
David Ortiz is still on TV. He's a reporter on TV, right? Alex Rodriguez.
again, you're helping my point because you're showing me that I'm telling you this is what America wants, not what they think it is. Because
Nah, I don't
Mariano
agree.
Rivera, speaking great English, showed up in a television commercial.
Nah, I listen. You could show me Vladimir Guerrero and he doesn't have to say a word. You could show me Shohei Ohtani and he doesn't have to say a word. And Tatis barely says anything in his commercials. This whole language issue, to me, is old news. And I think I've said it before. Me and Brown are going to disagree on this. I think it's an old take. All right, stick around. We are in the 7 Mile Casino Studios. A lot more to get to, including tonight, Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Is the NBA Finals ever going to get somebody like me to get into it? Well, Milwaukee's going to have to win and even it up tonight. We'll get to that coming up.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Southern California radio is a special game, a unique game from the sandy beaches of the Baja and all the way to Santa Barbara. My voice sounds pretty cool. The all-new and mightier 1090.
Great things can be achieved when a community comes together. Join Erica Cardenas on Doing More as she introduces you to ordinary people working side by side to confront tremendous challenges and make a positive impact in their community. Watch Doing More Sunday night at 6 on YourView or stream it online at yourview.com. Ronald McDonald House Charities of San Diego keeps families close to their hospitalized child. Stop by your local McDonald's today to make a donation or donate online.
Welcome to the Jacobs & Cushman San Diego Food Bank and our 90,000 square foot facility. We feed 350,000 people every single month. Many people ask, how can I help? You can volunteer for the San Diego Food Bank. Just go to sandiegofoodbank.org, register to volunteer. No group is too small, no group is too large, but those volunteers are integral to our success in feeding the community. Another way you can help is by hosting a food drive. Just go online and register your group, your company, or organization. It's that easy. Another great way is through our virtual food drive, where you can literally buy food on our behalf. Lastly, another great way to make an impact is to go online and make a financial contribution to the San Diego or North County Food Bank. On behalf of the San Diego Food Bank, our staff, our volunteers, and the 350,000 people we serve every month, thank you for helping us fight hunger and feed hope in San Diego County.
Let's take it up a notch with Kaplan and Crew tonight's Premium Boost, powered by the mightier 1090.
When it comes to buying an electric car, there's a couple things to keep in mind. Electric cars, for the most part, they work like a normal gasoline-powered car, but they do feel slightly different. So going for a test drive in an electric car is super important before you make that final decision. But in addition to that, there's a few things to balance. You're going to have to balance price, range, and space. Most electric cars are smaller than, say, the average truck or SUV. So you have to consider those three things if you're serious about putting an electric car in your driveway. The first thing you have to do is be realistic about how you use your car. And I would advise this of people, even if they're buying a gasoline-powered car or a hybrid or whatever it is, figure out what your needs are, because there's no point in getting a car of any kind then getting it home and finding out, oh my gosh, my dog won't fit, or my child booster seat is too hard to put in. So if you're serious about a certain kind of a car, whether it's electric or gas powered, bring your stuff to the dealership and say, I need to really get my life into this car, and let's just see if that will work or not. That's one way of doing it. But also be realistic about how much you drive every day. If you drive 100+ miles each way every day, you're going to need something that can accommodate that. But if not, something maybe smaller or lesser could work for you. We have our list of best electric cars for 2021, and we picked 10 cars that we think are the best of the best. And the criteria we set for that is that the car had to have a plug. So we did not include hybrids other than plug-in hybrids. So there's two different kinds of hybrids: gasoline electric hybrids or a plug-in hybrid, which uses electricity part of the time. Our rules were the car has to have a plug and it has to be available within the next 6 months. So we came up with a list that have some, I think, really great cars. And if the average person were to drive them, I think they would agree.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's Premium Boost is powered by the mightier 1090.
Our massive signal covers an area where over 24 million people reside. So if you're listening or advertising on another station, we have only one question. Why? The new generation of radio, the all-new and mightier 1090.
Sometimes they say it might work, it might not work. And so I ask myself the question, like, why even get the vaccine if it can also harm you? For me, it's like taking a 50-50 chance.
Hi, Andrea. Some say that the vaccine is harmful or that it might not work, but that's not true. Millions of people have been vaccinated with no ill effects, and I can tell you that getting the vaccine is far safer than not getting it.
Moore's Cancer Center is the only comprehensive cancer center in San Diego, which has NCI designation, which NCI stands for National Cancer Institute. And this is designated to only the highest possible ratings for cancer centers in the country. And that means that it's experts in every medical subspecialty pushing boundaries for difficult to treat cancers. We have a unique blend of cancer research and patient care, which really helps us take care of the whole patient from bench to bedside interventions with the latest research. And we're really pushing the boundaries to treat each individual cancer as much as possible. We're very proud of our leadership here in the community at UCSD.
Kaplan and Crew tonight presents Sports in a Minute.
The San Diego Legion's 2021 season came to an end last Saturday. The Legion lost to Old Glory DC 38-29 in their final match of the year. San Diego was in reach at the half, only trailing 19-17, but DC was able to forge ahead to secure the win. Peter Malcolm earned the 3 spot in Major League Rugby's top 5 tries of the week. From the lineout, the Legion were able to complete an interchange of passes from Malcolm to dive for the try. The Legion finished the season at 6-10 with 38 points. The LA Giltinis and the Utah Warriors will be battling in the MLR Western Conference Finals. I'm Haley Stasiak. That's your Sports in a Minute. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew tonight.
Classic Game Time. The best games from the past season on your view.
Live soccer is back. Watch Orange County Soccer Club, OC's highest level of professional soccer, live on your view. Watch Orange County SC take on Rio Grande Valley FC Saturday, July 17th at 5. Watch world-class players and future stars. Transform your summer with the new family game night and outdoor fun all season long. Live soccer is back. Orange County versus Rio Grande Valley, Saturday, July 17th at 5 on your view.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
All right, great friends. It is a Wednesday afternoon here on Kaplan and Crew, along with Browner and Minus Grande. But filling in is Cameron Ezeir, our intern this summer from Syracuse University, doing a great job. And happy to have everybody along. Everybody listening on 1090, we're glad you're here. Those of you on YouTube who've been pissed because we haven't been on during our regular time, and we know, like, we're all together. We all hang out. We're part of each other's lives. And when we throw off your whole schedule, we get it. We understand it. We're sorry for crying out loud over the last 2 days, but we think we got it all fixed and organized today. And so for those of you that are in YouTube, make sure you're getting involved in our YouTube chat. And for those of you that are watching on television tonight, spread the word, pass it around. I know you're just flipping through channels and there's Channel 4 San Diego, or maybe you're up north in Santa Barbara. If you're in Orange County or Palos Verdes, it's Channel 118, part of the Cox Your View network. So however you're watching, listening, your own time with us when we're on, happy to have everybody along, and we welcome you back inside the 7 Mile Casino Studios. Hey, before we get to some basketball stuff, Browner, I know you brought this up in the very first segment of today's show, but man, I am seeing a ton of coverage late this afternoon on this Richard Sherman story.
Yeah.
It just kind of gives you an idea of what kind of a star player he really became. And you know, where he became the biggest star was, this is before the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. But it was during that run to the Super Bowl, that interview he did with Aaron Andrews,
Your friend.
LOB. Yeah. Oh yeah. My girlfriend, the LOB, you know,
don't nobody talk about me.
Yeah. Well, who was talking about you? And then
Everybody.
No, but who did he say? Somebody in particular. There's a receiver for the 49ers.
Crabtree.
Crabtree. Don't you be talking about me, Crabtree.
Who?
You talk
Crabtree.
about me. You talk about the best. I'm going to shut your mouth, LOB. And she was like, and Aaron Andrews was like, okay, let me ask you the next question. And the guys in the booth, they were like, oh my God, America's going to be petrified. Richard Sherman is screaming at everybody, get him off the air. Rap.
He didn't curse, right? There you go. That's a plus.
He did not curse. He didn't curse.
That's one of the better interviews in a really long time. Because when a game ends like that, you really don't get that real raw emotion of the game. Like you get it sometimes, but you get it rarely like that. Like Bart Scott with the can't wait.
Yeah.
Like you get it every now and then, but you rarely get it.
Sal Palantonio to Bart Scott. Yeah. All right. We'll see you in New England next week. Can't wait.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
We lost.
Yeah. All right. Let me say this. I want to mention one of our great sponsors, and then I want to get into some NBA stuff. And I say it like that because you guys both said that the All-Star game last night was boring. I agreed, by the way. But I've been saying that the NBA Finals are boring, and you guys have disagreed. So give me 1 second, and then let's get to it. But before I do, I want to mention my man Corky from Corky's Pest Control, 1-800-901-1102. And I want to encourage anybody who has any pest control problems, if you're in San Diego, if you're in LA, if you're in Riverside County, if you have any problems with pest control, this is the go-to guy to call. I always mention termites because termite fumigation can be a really big pain in the ass. You got to have your house tented. You got to move your plants out. You got to move your pets out. You got to go live somewhere else for a couple of days, and you got to let these guys go in and do their work. But I will say this about Corky. Sometimes you don't need your house tented. Sometimes they can go into the attic and they can use heat treatment, or other times they can do spot treatment because maybe the termites are in an isolated area. So if you have a termite issue, Corky's can come take care of it, but here's where they really win. Nobody beats Corky's 4-year guarantee. So please, if you have termite-related problems or you have pest control-related problems, as always, support our sponsors and visit Corky's Pest Control. Call 1-800-901-1102.
Corky's.
Very well done.
That was a good one.
Very well done, Browner. Very, very nice. All right, let me ask you guys this question.
I really feel like Pavarotti sometimes, you know?
You do?
Yeah. I don't know his first name.
Couldn't
I
tell
don't
you.
either. I don't know either.
Y'all know who I'm talking about, though. The opera
Yeah.
singer.
Yeah, no, it was good. The fact that you actually got his name right
Mm-hmm.
was super, super interesting.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a deep
'Cause
brother.
I thought you were gonna say like, I feel like paparazzi sometimes, and you meant Pavarotti, but you said paparazzi. But you actually said Pavarotti.
I got it. I got it this
Yeah.
time.
You know, I actually sounds kind of good. Like I'd like to go to an Italian restaurant. I'm gonna have the Pavarotti. Sounds
Mhm.
really nice.
Some red
Sounds really-
sauce. That's what
But if
the
you
red
say
sauce.
paparazzi, they'd probably look at you like you're crazy.
Right.
Oh.
But in this case, hey,
Right.
isn't there an app called Paparazzi now? I keep getting oh, Cameron, you just had
Is
this look
there?
like
No, I've never heard of it.
yeah,
So
and
interesting.
I think it was like a couple weeks ago, it became like an instant hit on Apple's app store.
What does it
And
do?
I don't know, but I downloaded it just for the goof of it all. And the next thing I know, I'm getting like all these like my kids following me. It must be, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm
It's a
wrong.
camera that just doesn't keep taking pictures.
I don't know what it is. I think that there's an app called Paparazzi. Somebody will have to check me on that. Okay, listen, Browner, do me a
Mhm.
favor, okay? We all agreed that last night's All-Star game was not exciting.
Yes.
I tuned in because I wanted to see Ohtani. I wanted to see Tatis. I guess to a somewhat lesser degree, I wanted to see Machado. I had no real rooting interest. I mean, I suppose if you're a Padres fan, you're rooting for the National League just in case the Padres were to make it to the World Series, they would have home field advantage. And if you're a Dodger fan watching tonight or listening, maybe you had the same thought. If you're an Angel fan and you're thinking to yourself, hey, the Angels have gotten to above 500. They've got Ohtani. Trout will come back. Maybe the Angels will make a run. I doubt it, but maybe they will. Point is that maybe you had a rooting interest because you think your team has a chance in the World Series to have home field advantage. But I found the All-Star game itself to be boring. But no big deal. It's an All-Star game. It's a glorified exhibition. It is boring. Okay? Just like the NBA All-Star game is boring. But the NBA Finals should not be boring. And so tonight, Milwaukee down 2-1. Should they win this game tonight, tie the series, now it's best 2 out of 3. And even for a casual fan like myself, now it becomes much more exciting. So, Browner, I'll throw it to you, man. You're our NBA expert. You watch every game. Tonight, what's going to happen? Does Milwaukee even the series?
I think Milwaukee is going to even the series tonight. What I'm interested to see from Phoenix is if they find a way to bottle Giannis up, because I don't think they can stop him because he's had his way with them since game 2. So I want to see if they can slow him down in some way to allow other guys to try to beat them, the Bobby Portises, the Brook Lopez's, the Chris Middletons, the PJ Tucker corner 3 shot. If Phoenix can kind of get those guys to try to get a little more involved, I think they'll have a better chance on the road. But I think this is going to be whoever wins on someone else's home court, I think that's going to be the winner. And I think that's going to be the Bucks, to be perfectly honest with you, because the role players on these teams are fantastic at home. They're slightly above average on the road. So, I never thought Mikal Bridges was going to be that successful. Jay Crowder, campaign. I didn't think these guys would show up in the way that they did at home in Phoenix. So, I think tonight's going to be a big game to watch, and I hope everybody tunes into it.
All right. Hey,
It's the
Cameron, put
biggest
up
game.
on the – yeah, it is the biggest game. Before we get into it, hold on. Just put up on the screen, if you don't mind. Put up on the screen the stats and the stars and what we're looking for and how they've performed. And Cameron, take us through this slide right here.
Yeah, so in my opinion, as much as I've agreed with Browner in the past, that the role players, they're the individuals that separate the winner of the NBA Finals and the loser. The stars have to show up, especially in a game 4, in all intents and purposes, is the biggest game of the year. So this slide right here shows per game stats in the finals. Right now, Devin Booker is having a pretty good finals, but the issue is his efficiency, 23 points a game on 38% shooting. Chris Paul is doing his best. This is probably one of the best, series or even seasons that he's had, which is odd to say that because we're at the latter part of his career. 25 points per game on 57% shooting, 9 assists to go with that, 8 and 17 points per game, 13 rebounds. And when you go over to the Bucks side, and Browner, why I agree with you that the Bucks are going to win game 4 and why I think the Bucks are going to win this series. Look at the stats. Giannis, 34 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists. Chris Middleton, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Holiday, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Why not throw in an extra T for Holiday's points for a good measure? Because if you look at this Bucks team and you look at the stars, right? And you caught that mistake too.
I caught it. For those of you that are watching, look at the last line where it says Holiday 16 points, PTTS. Everybody else is PTS. Yeah, throw in an extra T for good measure. Why not?
Why and why you throw it in there is because if you look at the Bucks superstars or just the stars in general, something stands out. Yes, the Suns, they're shooting well. You look at Chris Paul, you look at DeAndre Ayton. But with the Bucks, they have one bona fide superstar and guys that can complement them. I think the issue and what will happen in game 4 is as much as the Suns have a big 3, they do have a trio. I like how the Bucks match up against Phoenix because 2 guys can complement off Giannis. So Giannis can have 45 points. If Devin Booker has 45 points, I know that Chris Paul didn't have as good of a game. But the guys in Chris Middleton, the guys in Drew Holiday, they know how to play when Giannis has 40 plus. So I like Giannis to, once again, 3 straight games with over 40 points and 10 rebounds. And those guys in Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton are going to complement him well. I'm taking Bucks in game 4. If you're not watching the NBA Finals, you're doing something wrong because this is a really important game.
Well, Cameron, let me try to break something down to you and why the other guys will be important. Put that
break
stat
it down.
back up.
Break it down because let me tell you something. Cameron just got awfully basketball-y for me.
He did. He lost. He lost you. I'm gonna try to bring you back. I'm gonna keep it real simple.
Yeah.
Go back to that slide, please. Look at the averages of those points, and with the exception of Giannis being far better than anyone else on the Bucks, that's roughly 69 points to 62 points if I'm counting somewhere in the ballpark. So you need other guys to do something because if Milton has a bad game or Holiday has a bad game, Portis, DiVincenzo or Connington, somebody else is going to have to do something. Same thing for Phoenix. If Paul doesn't play well or Booker struggles again, Bridges has to show up. They've got a lot of campaign. They've got a lot of guys on that roster who need to pick up the slack because this is pretty even. This is as close as you're going to get between 3 guys. So outside of these 6 guys, who is going to show up and step up? And that is going to be the team that wins the road game. Because again, home games are not the issue. Who's going to win a road game?
Well, yeah. I'm going to tell you guys right now. Listen, you guys are both basketball junkies. I'm not. Okay. I've for 20 years of being on radio in San Diego where we didn't have an NBA team and the Lakers were the default NBA team. And, there was after Kobe, Shaq, there were so many bad years for the Lakers. I just lost a lot of interest in the NBA. Brought back, by working in LA around the Lakers station. There you go. But the Lakers being knocked out, I've heard this from a lot of other Laker fans like Alex. Once the Lakers were gone, or once your team gets knocked out, do you lose interest in the rest of the basketball season? I actually was kind of hoping that Phoenix would have been playing what I would consider to be a really interesting team like Brooklyn, for example, but Brooklyn got knocked out by Milwaukee. There's something wrong with me. When I say me, it's not just, there's something wrong with why is it that it would have to be like a game 7 for me to be in on this. And I think the biggest part of it is this. It's not like I haven't watched the games. It's just that I'm not like emotionally involved in the games. And I don't know about the rest of you guys that are watching and listening who are San Diegans for the most part, so don't really even love the NBA. The games aren't competitive thus far. First 2 games, Phoenix won handily. Third game, Milwaukee won very, very handily. So these are not exciting nail biter type of games. And I always compare it to football. Look, if you told me Cincinnati was going to play against Carolina in the Super Bowl, I don't have any interest in Cincinnati or Carolina necessarily, but as a pure NFL fan, somebody who loves football and loves the NFL, I'd be sitting there watching. And I got it. It's a 1-game Super Bowl, not a 7-game series. But still, I just haven't been compelled yet by Phoenix and Milwaukee. And maybe it's because all 3 games have been decided midway through the third quarter.
Let me pose a question to you.
Go ahead.
The numbers that Giannis is putting up, they're Shaq-like.
Mm-hmm.
You enjoyed watching Shaquille O'Neal, right?
I did.
You enjoyed him dunking on people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You enjoyed Derek Fisher making outside shots when Shaq was doubled. Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Ory and
Rick
Kobe.
Fox.
Yeah, sure. I love that team.
What Giannis is doing is very similar to that. So the disconnect that you're probably feeling is around the reason why you can't pronounce his last name.
Well, maybe it's because he needs an interpreter after a game, and I just don't find him to be marketable. Maybe that's what it's all about.
Maybe your
get outta
trouble. Maybe your trouble connecting to him because he's a great player. He might be one of the top 5 players in the league at this point. Your trouble connecting with him because he's a foreign-born player. His name doesn't sound. His name doesn't sound American.
Not. Has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it.
This is
okay.
It's more about Milwaukee, not really watching them all season long.
But did you watch
only really knowing Giannis on that team? And really in the final analysis, Browner, it's really got nothing to do with where he's from or what language he speaks or how to pronounce his name. What it really just comes down to is when you're not a hardcore fan of a sport, but you do follow a team, once your team gets knocked out, you may lose interest. And the other part of it is not having any dog in the fight. You may not necessarily be a Suns fan or a Bucks fan, but you're at least a pure NBA fan. I'm a half-ass NBA fan who follows a team and follows a story. Phoenix and Milwaukee, neither of these two teams do much for me. It got nothing to do with who speaks what language, who's from what country. It's just simply about not being a pure NBA fan.
And I'll follow it up with this because I think I'm a pure NBA fan. And during these 3 finals games, I found myself walking away from the TV. And that's not just because, I don't have my dog in the fight. I'm also a Laker fan. So you could say I'm in Grande's chair for a reason.
So you're a phony too?
No, not a phony. Not a phony at all. Coming to my room, I got Kobe pictures everywhere. But no, here's the point. You don't have a dog in the fight. On top of that, look at these 2 teams. Chris Paul, no offense, is one of the least sought after superstars I can think of. He's a guy that hasn't done that much when it comes to accolades in his career. And then Devin Booker, young kid, a lot of people gravitate toward him. That's why I think there's a younger audience going for the Suns, vying for the Suns. The Milwaukee Bucks are the most boring team in the NBA. Not a question. If I asked you to tell me 7 players on the Milwaukee Bucks, you couldn't name 5. We got to support Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, Bryn Forbes, Thanasis, Antetokounmpo. This is a boring team. Even Giannis. Giannis is a pretty boring superstar. He doesn't really put himself out there like LeBron does, Anthony Davis. Would you not agree with that? Giannis is very talented, top 5 player in the league. But do you think that he is one of the top superstars when it comes to you're going to support him? He puts himself out there. He has a big name, not just because it's long.
Dude, we should love Giannis right now because this guy, and I say love, this guy was hurt going into the finals. And even in game 1, it was like, he got to at least give it a try. I mean, you may never get back here. And Giannis is putting up these crazy historic kind of numbers and performances, which exactly, that's my point. I, the casual fan, should be more into it because I love a good story. But again, I think more than anything, it's because all 3 games have been decided midway through the 3rd quarter. I don't know what you have to say, Browner, but kind of finish us off on this one. What do you think?
I will say this. Giannis is one of the funnier people. If you listen to him be interviewed, if you follow him on Instagram, he's one of the funnier people in the NBA. So it's interesting that you say that he's boring. So that's all. That's all.
He's not boring. I'm not saying he's boring. No, I didn't say that. I said that the Milwaukee Bucks are a boring team.
And then you said Giannis was boring.
When it comes to guys with storylines and with people that you want to follow and a huge social media following and all this controversy around him, Giannis doesn't have that. People gravitate toward that. Giannis isn't boring, but are you sitting down on a Wednesday night on a normal regular season game to watch Giannis? I'll sit down and watch LeBron.
I'm not. Browner.
Me? Yeah. I'm not the person. I'm the wrong person to answer that question. Yes, I'll be watching the WNBA All-Star Game tonight. I'm weird.
Okay, all right. So that's very funny, by the way. You're gonna watch the WNBA All-Star Game tonight and the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, something's wrong. I need help.
I know. I did not. I honestly, like, if there was a WNFL right? And they were having an All-Star game, and the WNFL was going up against the regular NFL. You couldn't get me to the WNFL.
It's before the finals game. They schedule it properly.
I'll watch it now. Had no clue that it was on.
Yeah, I know.
You're
All right,
welcome.
hey, real quickly before we keep going, and I actually want to talk, since we're talking basketball, I want to bring it home. I want to bring it local. I want to talk about Kawhi Leonard here in just 1 second. But before I do, I want to talk about the Total T Clinic. Hey, fellas, let me just tell you one thing about the Total T Clinic. For the first time ever, and we've been working with the Total T Clinic for many years, and I've been telling you, as you get older, your testosterone levels drop, and that's why you don't feel so good, and why your body's not fighting off infection, and it's why you don't feel, passionate in the bedroom. I'm just telling you right now, your testosterone levels are dropping. You hadn't even thought about this. You go get your testosterone levels checked for free. You find out that they're low. We get you on a treatment of testosterone, and all of a sudden you feel like you used to feel when you were 25 years old. Guys, listen, right now, the Total T Clinic is so confident in what they're doing in their treatments that the first month is only $99. They've never done anything like this before. The first month is only $99. It is affordable for everybody to feel as good as you can and should feel. $99 is all it's going to take for your first month. Total T Clinic, TotalTClinic.com. Make an appointment, get your testosterone levels checked for free, and then only $99 for that first month. We're that confident at the Total T Clinic. All right, coming up, got a lot more to get to, including back to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game and the commissioner talking about some rule changes or adjustments like the shift, which I hate. We'll get to that story coming up.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Catch Kaplan and Crew Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. If you've listened to Scott Kaplan the last 20 years, you know one thing. He likes to stir up some A new generation of radio. The all-new and mightier 1090.
With live theater on hold and performers and crew out of work, the folks at Subaru of El Cajon had a great idea.
Why not help all the artists and artisans in San Diego put a musical on?
And so Sharing the Love was born. This musical collaboration between Subaru of El Cajon and the performing arts community celebrates positivity in the face of strife.
Love is for sharing, hate is despairing. There is no comparing the two.
Watch Sharing the Love, Saturday and Sunday, only on Your View.
Welcome to the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank and our 90,000 square foot facility. We feed 350,000 people every single month. Many people ask, how can I help? You can volunteer for the San Diego Food Bank. Just go to SanDiegoFoodBank.org, register to volunteer. No group is too small, no group is too large, but those volunteers are integral to our success in feeding the community. Another way you can help is by hosting a food drive. Just go online and register your group, your company, or your organization. It's that easy. Another great way is through our virtual food drive, where you can literally buy food on our behalf. Lastly, another great way to make an impact is to go online and make a financial contribution to the San Diego or North County Food Bank. On behalf of the San Diego Food Bank, our staff, our volunteers, and the 350,000 people we serve every month, thank you for helping us fight hunger and feed hope in San Diego County.
Here's Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout with Haley Stasiak.
The MLB All-Star Game was on Tuesday night. All four Padres All-Stars saw time in the Midsummer Classic. Manny Machado singled, Fernando Tatis Jr. made a couple plays at short, Jake Cronenworth saw time at first base, and Mark Melancon pitched a third of an inning. Tatis led off for the National League. He is the first Padre to lead off for the NL in the All-Star Game since Tony Gwynn in 1991. The shortstop is also the first Padre to get an All-Star start since Gwynn in his last appearance in 1998. This year's four Padres at the All-Star Game is the most the Padres have been represented since 1998 as well. The Friars will be back in action on Friday in Washington, D.C. against the Nationals. That's your 60-second timeout. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew tonight.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout is presented by Your View.
Rich Eisen here, inviting you to catch my show, The Rich Eisen Show, on our flagship radio station, the Mightier 1090. We're on every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to noon Pacific time. You'll like what you hear. If not, that's just, I guess, too bad.
A new generation of radio, the all-new and Mightier 1090.
And so it begins. Your epic adventure, where champagne bubbly meets rose petal rain. Floating your way to a life of leisure. To the victor go the spoils, as the neon gods send Lady Luck your way. Funner. It's more than a place. It's a state of mind. Find your funner here.
Love promise moments are part of the mission of what we do here at Subaru El Cajon. A love promise moment is when we as human beings deliver an experience beyond exceptional to any one of our guests, and then that guest's life is positively affected by that interaction. It's amazing to watch what happens when two human beings talk on that level and create something magical. And sometimes they drive away with a car, sometimes they don't, but we've had an impact on that person's life, and that's the magic. You know, our employees react to things like Make-A-Wish, Feeding San Diego, and the other groups we help by jumping in.
This year, through COVID, we were able to help a little girl out and got her a rather large scooter that she needed for mobility.
We gave up our Christmas party as employees, and we actually adopted a wish of a young girl here in El Cajon, and we gave her a 3-wheel scooter so she didn't have to use her wheelchair all the time. It gives me goosebumps even thinking about it.
Time now for Kaplan and Crew tonight's Community Connect.
Shelter to Soldiers selects dogs from shelters and rescue groups all throughout California. Our ideal candidate at Shelter to Soldier is 8 months to a year and a half old. They're confident in different environments. They have strong social drive. Another motivator like food or toy drive. And ultimately, these are dogs that want to have a job and that have a greater purpose to become a service dog. Currently, about 85% of our dogs pass their service dog training. But if they don't pass, they become a career change. We don't like to use the word failure around here. So career change to an emotional support animal, or if that doesn't work out, then they career change to a pet dog. Still finding a loving placement and purpose in life.
Casa de Amparo has been around since 1978, and now we're in the Twin Oaks Valley in San Marcos with a beautiful campus. We work with children and families who've experienced chronic trauma over their lifetime, and we're here to help heal that.
I always told myself, you know, seeing that my mother passed away through domestic violence, that I would never put myself in that position. And if it ever happened, like, I would leave, but it's easier said than done.
These are foster youth who are not able to manage in a foster home environment. My husband and I have been a part of the San Marcos community in our businesses since 1993.
One of the beautiful things about Kayleen, she started here at Casa de Amparo years ago when we were at the shelter with a church group.
How can we best give back is to volunteer our time.
Because without donors like Bassett, we would not be able to provide the services we provide.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Shelter to Soldiers selects dogs from shelters and rescue groups all throughout California. Our ideal candidate at Shelter to Soldier is 8 months to a year and a half old. They're confident in different environments. They have strong social drive, another motivator like food or toy drive. And ultimately, these are dogs that want to have a job and that have a greater purpose to become a service dog. generally about 85% of our dogs pass their service dog training. But if they don't pass, they become a career change. We don't like to use the word failure around here. So career change to an emotional support animal, or if that doesn't work out, then they career change to a pet dog, still finding a loving placement and purpose in life.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.